sports, weather, other small talk.
Movies, books, ground beef.
Porn?
Porn.
Porn. Nope, that's my phone. Getting a call. Oh. This is my boss. It's a very private, important business matter. So if you could not listen into this, that'd be great, because I'm not going to move. Okay. Hey, baby. Yeah, no, I had a great time last night. Just thinking about you. What's that? Oh, baby, I can't. Baby, he's right here. What am I wearing? Gray shirt, blue flannel jacket. Oh yeah, real hipster-like. Oh yeah, baby. You know I liked you before you were cool. Oh, baby. Keep going. Uh-huh. What would you do with the hedgehog? Oh yeah, and the anteater? Oh, baby, tell me all about your little zooming critters.
Nope.
The fuck? That was my mom. She is sick in the hospital with the plague.
I thought it was your boss.
Funny story. Because... Alright, Matt, you found me out. You've seen through my clever ruse.
Clever?
I've taken a lover behind your back.
Lover behind?
I'm sorry, is there an echo in this room? Yeah, shut up. I don't know what it is. I'm not happy with you anymore. He's so kind, and he's thoughtful, and he's emotional and sensitive, and he connects with me on a deep, deep personal level that you never did.
David, I really couldn't care too much about this.
And his dick! He's the size of Rhode Island, like, oh my god! Have you ever had your throat touched through your anus? It's amazing!
David!
Oh!
David!
What?
Let's start the review.
I'll try, but...
You want me to get the hose?
No! Damn it.
Ugh!
Try it sometime, though. It's great. We watched a movie today.
Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor.
Good old Tyler Perry. Doing Tyler Perry things.
First movie of his we have decided to do for the show.
We
stopped doing. We stayed off of him for a reason.
There were, if we were to watch any of his stuff, it would have been Medea, I think. But for some reason, this one was literally at the very bottom of romance.
Which is probably due to our preferences set.
Possibly. Well, I set it to highest rated.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's highest rated usually according to the setting that we have for the channel.
Oh.
So the thing is, though, we have our own specific Netflix thing that's only designed for watching ShitFlix movies.
Yeah, it's...
So the thing is, though, all of the movies are rated and stored and whatnot comparatively to the shit that we have watched and gone through.
Anyway.
According to what was Netflix, and it had a 4 out of 5.
4-star for all users.
For me, it was 1.1 out of 5.
We can't stay truly subjective in finding the films, but we can stay mildly subjective in...
Watching, reviewing, and
anyway,
tearing a new one.
Here we go. Plot time. The entire story is told as a flashback of a marriage counselor named Judith and her marriage going down south. She marries, very young, to her childhood friend named Bryce. She doesn't know anybody else. She's never dated anyone else. She didn't have sex with anyone else. This was her only relationship. Until one day she meets a billionaire playboy philanthropist named Harley, who essentially tries to woo her. And they flirt a little bit, but she's like, oh, I can't do this, I'm married. But meanwhile, her husband, not being a dick or anything, just being very forgetful, and not all together, like, you know, focused on the marriage, he forgets her birthday and, you know, not paying her the attention that she desires. So she ends up falling ever so quickly into the hands of Harley.
ever so quickly.
Ever so quickly. Meanwhile, there's
get
an
to that.
entire subplot going on of this new girl who works at the pharmacy that Bryce works at. And she has been running from her crazy ex-boyfriend. She's changed her name, moved from state to state, until finally she ended up here.
DC.
In D.C., trying to hide from her ex-boyfriend. Back to the original plot, Bryce and Judith's marriage is just crumbling. She's taking more and more time with Harley until eventually he's like, look, leave your husband. Be with me and I can give you everything you want because I'm rich. So then she's like, fine, yes, I'll leave my husband. And she tells Bryce, look, you deserve a nice guy, or a nice girl, but it's not me. I'm not a nice person. So she leaves him there. He goes and looks for comfort with Karen, or Melinda. I think her actual name.
Her real name is Karen,
but her changed name was Melinda.
Yeah.
And you think something's about to happen there, but they keep it platonic. And it's revealed that she has HIV for some reason. But then it's revealed that she got it from her ex, who happens to be Harley. Harley's absolutely obsessive and abusive and just craedy.
Everyone has AIDS.
When Bryce finds this out, he rushes over trying to save Judith, and
she's beaten
because of an earlier altercation between Harley and her mother, and he gets her out of there to a safe place and tries beating up Harley, and then he leaves her and says, if you ever come near them again, I'll kill you. And the movie ends showing that Judith did end up getting AIDS. They ended up divorcing, and Bryce has gotten a nice, happy life, but Judith never did find happiness. But
she has her mother.
She has contentment. Yeah, she has God now, because her mother was a reverend, and that mildly played into the plot in some lines.
So,
let me say real quick.
Temptation, huh?
What I feel in this movie.
Temptation.
It sticks directly to the plot. There was a much longer script to this movie.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt there was. Because the entirety...
Or a different script, at least.
Yeah, from the first act to the second act.
To the top of the third, really.
To the top of the third, yeah. Was just the most rushed and disjointed character development ever. The plot made sense enough. The plot was fine. But they rushed it so quickly.
This shit happened in days.
Yeah, within the span of like 48 hours, Judith went from, no, I have a husband,
Church
I can't
girl,
do this, to being raped. Which we'll get to.
That scene.
We'll get to that.
That scene was the catalyst.
She went to that, to saying, don't ever talk to me again, to then saying, I need you.
I need you, I want you, I need the deal.
That happened over the course of like 48 hours max.
I need the BBC. The big one.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, alright, I can make these jokes because I'm not the moral center of this show.
Okay.
No, the truth of the matter is, yeah, no, seriously. Alright, let's talk about this. Alright, the setup of the movie, it was silly enough as it is, and to be honest, this trope has been in movies as long as there has been movies. So I don't besmirch it at all or whatnot. If you make it work, you make it work. I've never known Tyler Perry to be a good director. He's a decent actor, and also when it comes down to live performances, he's really good at what he does. I give him applause for what he's good at, and I hold him accountable for what he's bad at. And the problem is, he has made all the decent movies that he's made are way surpassed by his bad ones. And this one, I think it kind of like sits in the middle of the scale, really, for a number of different reasons. One, and I'm just going to go through this couple things real quick.
I'll chime in if I have any.
One, the production values of the movie are actually very good. Some stuff, I would change, obviously, but at the same time, overall, the camera work, the cinematography, the editing, the lighting design, except for some really obvious ADR cuts.
Yeah, sound was a little bit off in some places.
A little choppy.
I also think that when it came down to music, they just blared it. Like, it wasn't on par with the rest of the movie. It was like, movie, music. So.
Money, money, money. But one thing that was a real problem, and this is just the technical aspects of it right now, not even talking about the movie itself. The editing, as David said, was so chopped together. Now, two things I think have either happened here. One, this was a much larger / much different script that got all sorts of butchered. I don't actually think that that's the case. I personally think this, at least from this looks what at least looks at, that there was a huge chunk of this movie taken out. Like, there's obviously something missing.
Here's a point of contention. We didn't talk about this before, but it is based off of a stage play that Tyler Perry also wrote.
Yeah.
Stage plays are known for being longer, typically.
Yeah.
So I feel that more character development probably was put in, and it was a bunch longer. Because this clocks in just under 2 hours. Like, just barely under 2 hours.
It's literally an hour and 59 minutes, including credit time.
So I definitely feel as though the play had a lot more stuff to it, essentially.
It probably did. I don't know the play.
Yeah, neither do I.
And I know that Tyler Perry is much better live, though, than he is in movies. Acting and stage-wise, when it comes to the production side. But the thing is, though, and that's one of the problems with the script, is the fact that there are 3 different types of dramatic writing. There's novelization, there's plays / theater, and then there's screenplays. Novels are about giving all the information or all of specific types of information to the reader. Screenplays is all about dialogue. It's all about saying what's going on in your mind because there's no other way for the people to understand it. Screenplays are primarily action. Because the fact of the matter is, though, it's all supposed to be able to say what you can say without talking. Now, to be fair,
see these things, and it's supposed to be like a it's not a metaphor.
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to imagine the stage.
Well,
you're supposed to be able to see the stage.
And I love dialogue-heavy screenplays and whatnot. Angels in America, Quentin Tarantino movies and whatnot. They work. The problem is with this movie, it's so heavy-handed. And also, the characters, none of them are likable.
Mm-hmm.
Except for one.
The main characters, none of them are likable except for Bryce. I will say that
to a degree,
most of the supporting cast is likable except for Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Did we forget to mention that?
We did.
Kim's in this movie.
Very small.
In all her curvature.
She is essentially the same position as Judith at her company thing, just in a different role. And they're supposed to be BFFs, but you know. Not. They're bitches to each other.
Like bitches fighting over fists.
Yeah,
I don't know, just...
like, and it doesn't seem like that. It's not like that. Matt, you're a cunt. It's not that sort of like playful stuff.
No, it's like everything about you was awful.
Yeah, that's and especially you could feel the vitriol between them because it's Kim Kardashian. I'm pretty sure she does that all the time.
And she's still wooden as everything, man. Is your face still real, or have you started destroying it yet? I don't know. Send me a line. Contact her Twitter page.
All the fat from her face is in her ass.
No, actually, her ass was that way. All right, not moving into sexist talk here, but the thing is, though, one of the problems that I had with this movie was overall the characters. One, the most interesting character.
Karen Melinda?
Yes. I wanted to have a movie about her.
She is introduced. She has like no introduction when she's at the pharmacy,
which is interesting.
But then she goes home, and the one lady who runs the shop is like, something's not right about her. Notice how she put her hood up. She's being defensive about something.
Maybe she's cold. Like,
and then she goes into her apartment. There were like 5 locks on the door, and then she walks around her apartment with a baseball bat
in the dark.
We're like, what has happened to you?
It's like, we want to know that type of story. And we do find out what's happening. You know what? You should have made that movie. Fuck Judith. Fuck Judith's story. Fuck the marriage counselor thing. You could chop that entire thing out, which is the main plot. Mm-hmm. Now you stick with, what's his name?
Melinda Bryce,
and like Harley. All the people basically in the pharmacy. Yeah. And also Harvey and whatnot. Like Harvey can come in. Harley? Yeah. Harley, sorry. But Harley and whatnot, he He can be in there, but actually even better, keep him faceless and whatnot. Only hear his voice for the majority of the beginning and whatnot. Whenever he like comes by, or she might hear him in a public place, or she think maybe it's all about her paranoia that he's watching her over everything. That's some real legitimate PTSD bullshit.
Even then, I wouldn't even say do that. Like, I think that the story just of how she escaped would have been interesting enough.
Yeah.
You have an
We'll tie that in.
A, they fall in love. B, it's the same sort of beats that happen in this movie, where it's A, they fall in love.
Yeah.
B, she slowly starts to realize that he's mentally just not there. But then C, and the one that wasn't included in this movie, is her getting away, starting a different life, doing these things. That is so much better than...
But time it... Actually, to be honest, you can take a line out of the movie Frequency. That, it's the fact, you can have these two, not obviously in the same condition, but you can have these two, or you can just say like The Godfather Part 2. You can have these two stories happening simultaneously, and they follow along certain beats. Yeah. The thing is, and you can alternate between the two. That would be really interesting dual storytelling and whatnot.
I'm immediately imagining a much better movie.
It's like Tyler, yo, message from Matthew Roe here, yo. You have potential, but you put it into all the wrong things.
Yeah.
And even when you find screenwriters to write some of this shit for you, you still don't find the good ones. There are plenty of good screenwriters out there. Okay, alright, I want to say this one little bit that I won't bring it up again. Yes, Tyler Perry's movies are made for primarily a black audience. What? But the fact of the matter is, though, there are amazing black artists out there. Take your pick. That's it.
Okay. Well, and that's fine. We did I at least, I'm sure Matt did too, but did our best to...
Now, he does give a lot of stars to a lot of directors and a lot of actors and whatnot. For that, I applaud you, but still!
We did our absolute best to view this, not in a we're the wrong demographic sort of thing.
No, it's just these are people.
These are people, and how would we react to these being these people?
And they're shitty people.
I mean, they didn't even really do any of, like, the race card sort of things. Absolutely, the only thing that was...
The token white lady.
Yeah, that's... Well, I mean...
And I loved her. She was the person who ran the pharmacy, and she was just... Oh, she was so sweet.
If this was made...
Peter Sellers would play that character.
If this were made with an all-white cast, or an all-Indian cast, or all-whatever cast, it wouldn't make an impact. These people acting these way would give us the same reaction.
Yeah.
And that is... None of...
Just grabbing handfuls of mints. So why don't you take the whole bucket? I don't want the whole bucket.
She was a good... She's the mother character from The Nanny.
Listen to the lesbian.
She's extremely likable.
Yeah. She's one of those great old little character actors that you kind of see pop up and everything.
But no, it's not really a race thing at all in why this movie... Like, some people say, like, oh, you don't like Tyler Perry's movies because you're not black. No. I don't
maybe that's partially true.
Maybe when it comes down to, like, humor or stuff like that, because I've heard it said before that the reason that, like, Medea and stuff like that, so, like, it's because it reflects so much of African-American households.
But even now, the African-American community is like, yo, dude, stop.
Right. But... it's neither here nor there. When it comes to the dramatic one, especially this one at least, this applies all across the board. Like, it doesn't matter at all what race they are. The one thing that I think might be impactful to our viewing experience is that we don't have the womanly input.
Yeah.
We can't... We view why Bryce is being shafted here by his wife. We see, like, dear God, why is she doing this to him? But we can't see the reverse of it. Like, mildly. We can tell when Bryce is being a douche, not remembering her birthday 2 years in a row.
That's real douche.
Yeah, just doing different little things. We can definitely tell why Harley's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And why he's also desirable to her in certain ways. We can see those things because we're not that stupid. But we can't understand certain aspects, like why does she keep going back to Harley?
Let's bring up the rape.
Okay, yeah, this is a good time to do.
This is the scene that literally trashed the whole rest of the movie.
Let me lay it down real quick.
Alright, and I will say one bit before you get going. It is because, not necessarily that the scene happened. It came right the fuck out of nowhere, and both of us weren't expecting it, at least in that degree. But the thing is,
it later, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't expect, like, full-on rape and whatnot. Like, maybe it was like a mutual thing, that'd be different, and that'd be following the cliche, but this was legit rape. This is, like, beyond 50 Shades of Grey. This is rape. And the problem with this is not necessarily just that it happened. That I can work either way. It's how it was handled afterwards.
All right. So what happened was, the whole thing is she works in a matchmaking industry.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, exists. But I'm not entirely sure what Harley's stake in the whole thing was.
She's a therapist.
What Harley's?
Oh, Harley. Oh, no, he was a possible investor.
And I don't understand why that was necessary for them. Anyway,
They were trying to expand.
They took a business trip to New Orleans for some reason. And Judith was
to the stockholders.
Judith was the only one. Oh, yeah, that's true. They had that whole presentation. Judith was the only one that was invited along with Harley to present their case. Took their private jet down to New Orleans. They partied for a while, had some dancing, had some drinks. And then they got back on the plane after having a wonderful day. And she had had a couple of champagne thing, and they were having the same talk that they've been having for the past 4 scenes.
Fuck me. No,
Harley's
fuck me,
like, you know, I like you, Judith. I really do. I find you interesting, and I find you just goddamn beautiful. But
if you were mine,
I'd give you anything you wanted. Bryce is a nice guy and all, but he doesn't give you the attention you deserve.
He doesn't.
And Judith's sitting there like, I'm married, Harley. I can't.
I'm married.
I can't. I just can't.
And
then what does, and then Harley makes some comment. He's just like, tell me you don't want me, or tell me you want me, or something like that. And then he gets up off of his private jet plane seat, walks over to her seat, and just like, hand there. And she's like, no.
She says, stop.
She says, no. She says, stop it. She says, we can't do this. Da, 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 da.
And know what he says?
He just comes off and he's like, stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop it.
You could say that you
Yes, you could say that you resisted. And then he goes back in for the kiss, and then all of a sudden they cut back to them getting off plane. And then they say later that they had sex. So...
And it flashes back to it at one point.
The fuck?
The fuck is that?
That is straight... Like,
now,
if you have, like, the senpai, no, please help, in, like, hentai and stuff like that...
No, the thing is, though, that's the problem.
Yeah.
The way that it went. Now, the next couple small scenes was something actually that I'm like, all right, Tyler went straight up dark on here, and like, is this gonna like be the thing this tearing down of her mind and all sorts of stuff?
She did. As soon as she got out of the car, when she got home, she said, "Don't ever talk to me again. We're done with our business association.
Yeah.
We're done." She gets out of the car. Harley's chasing after, like, "Hey, you sure you want to do this?"
Her mom's there.
Her mom's doing it, so he had to play it cool, and then she heads into the house, where then
she takes the rape shower.
Yeah, turning on the shower, and she's
like,
just staring.
I had flashbacks to "I Spit on Your Grave," and then apparently some time passes because then she's sitting in her office and he's walking with was it Vanessa Williams' character and whatnot. They walk around and he doesn't notice her and whatnot. And then it cuts to another scene where she's sitting on the couch,
and
bored, reading a magazine.
Her husband's watching football, barely paying any attention to her.
I mean.
Yeah, I know.
How many guys do? I don't watch sports, but still, I know tons of guys who do that.
I know.
It's a thing, guys. And the thing is, then her phone rings. Why? Never explained. She goes in the other room to answer it and whatnot. She's like, it's like, you don't talk to me at work. You don't say hi and whatnot. He's like, we had sex. And this is how you're gonna do it. And then he goes, what are you talking about? He's like, I thought this is what you wanted. Yada yada yada. And then I'm like,
and then he says, no, yeah. And so she's completely playing over there. And then he makes the comment of, like, what does it even matter if I call if you're not into it? It's like, because that's harassing her.
Yeah.
You're harassing.
Yeah.
And they basically just go back and forth of just, like...
And the problem...
Tell me you didn't like it. I didn't like it, but I did. And
then the very last bit of it was literally, it's like, tell me that you want me. Tell me that you want me. I want you.
No, what was the thing? It's like, you think your husband can give you as bad sex as I can?
Nobody can give you...
Nobody can give me as good as sex as you do.
And I'm like, you just went the hentai route. You just went, senpai.
Jesus.
Senpai could.
At that point, you're completely... This man forced himself on her. Like,
I mean, Jesus.
And you're just saying, like, it was the best thing I've ever thought. Fine, you're into BDSM, you're into that sort of submissive stuff, fine. but you can't just brush it under the rug that was rape. At all.
Tyler.
No matter how
this
it turns
is not
out in the
temptation.
End, that was rape.
This is exploitation.
This is Stockholm.
Yeah, it really is. It's Stockholm dick.
And I understand the way they were going with that. In that she was with her husband and she was never going to do it herself. It
was about a man taking initiative and whatnot. But I'm like, you did it horribly.
Horribly.
That's like, all right. That's the same problem I have with 50 Shades of Grey. That is not. That's not dominant in sexuality and whatnot. That's not a dominant relationship. That is exploitation and rape.
Now, the thing is, though,
I don't know what is with these people and having rape fantasies. Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus.
This movie goes out of its way, unlike 50 Shades of Grey, to show that this is emotional abuse.
Yes.
That he is emotionally and later on in the film physically abusing her. That manipulation in the highest degree.
The problem, though, that I have with Judith's character the most, though, is actually came at the end. Or not at the end. It was in the third act. Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, if he did not actually turn violent, she would not have changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to think about. Because domestic violence, should never be
I know, but the thing is, though, in the role of the actual film, she would not have learned a damn thing. She would have still behaved the same way.
Question, though. Do you think first off, the whole reason she was beaten, is because of his mental issues.
Yeah.
The reason he justified it was because they got in an argument because he...
She said something about his mom, and that never was brought up before.
Well, no, they were fighting over that one MacBook. And he took it from her mother.
She then said something about his mom.
Oh,
and that's what made him flip out.
So anyway, it was just a whole thing, and then she's like, "I'm going to give you some space while we cool down." And he's like, "Are you leaving? Are you leaving? Are you leaving?" And that's where it cuts from. But the thing that I want to say is, do you think that she would have changed once she learned that she was HIV positive from it?
That could go either way.
Yeah, I think that would have been an interesting idea. I don't know if it would have been anything, but it would have been an interesting idea.
Talk about a fuck you at the ending, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she had all the shit shoveled in her face. To be fair, it goes back to that whole shit's karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
If you believe in karma.
Like, we would have been more pissed off if she had done all this, and then Bryce is just like, "Don't worry, babe, I still love you. We're still married. And you didn't get HIV. And everything's happy."
Yeah, no. I mean, but then at the same time, it was like the hollow ending. One, though, Harley, he just disappears from the picture.
Yeah.
Like, his story arc is never wrapped up. Everyone else's is.
I mean, it could have gone anyway. He could have been arrested because he beat up what's fake. But
he's just left on the floor, and that's just it. Just fade out, and fade in, and we're out of the flashback.
I don't think it's that necessary that we really need to know what happened.
No, but
as long as it's apparent that he wasn't with them anymore.
The problem is, it's just another thing missing.
Yeah.
Like, by that point, I'm like, there's so much shit missing. I'm not taking another piece missing here. The fact of the matter is, though, like, you know what? Actually, this is interesting. Tyler Perry, if you're out there, if you have a full cut of this movie, because I know that there's a full cut of this movie, I would love to see it.
Or even just, like, someone point us to the script of the play, of the screenplay, or of the actual play.
The play, and whatnot.
The stage play. Because I'm sure that wouldn't be cut much for any reason. Not like running time's an issue for those.
As long as we can get the actual printing of it and whatnot, I was like, yeah. I will read it, and I will give it my fullest attention.
Right. But with this currently, we're not even that big on the acting at all. No. This isn't about this is plot. This is everything we've said about the plot. You said the technical issues before. Acting, we said Kim Kardashian was wooden. How do we feel about Judith? I think she was good.
She did with what she could with the material.
I think the business scenes were the worst parts for her, where she was just like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah." She was just waiting for the parts. Where
she was better in the third act.
Yeah, she was.
Even though she was still intolerable at certain points.
There were two scenes particularly.
I'll enjoy the ride.
Yeah, there were two scenes in particularly that from the third act that we very much loved. One is the one where she essentially dumps Bryce. It's outside of a It's outside of a nightclub, and he has to go in and get her out. And it's just a good, emotionally raw scene.
Yeah.
Like, up till this point, Bryce has been very
out of the picture.
Reserved, even. Yeah. Yeah, every time that one of these things comes up, he's like, look, you have to talk to me. You have to tell me what's going on. And he's like, sure, Judith is freaking out, but Bryce is that. But then once she actually is like, look, we're done, then he's emotional. He's opening up, which is possibly what he needed the whole time.
And then
he immediately is followed by the second scene we like, where he goes and meets Melinda/Karen. And they share a moment, both as two hurt people, and then he is trying to, for a momentary lapse, fill the void that's left emotionally by trying to embrace Karen.
Trying to kiss her, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like,
no.
She stops, she's like, look, this isn't what you want.
It's like, we're not attracted
to each other.
You're just hurting. You're looking for anything to heal that void.
Those are the two most, realistic scenes of, like, that anything would happen. It's emotionally raw, and then what would have happened after emotionally raw.
Yeah.
It's good. And then also the characters involved in it, I think, were the best.
Again, you could take Judith's entire story arc out of this and make this shit... Oh, God, I keep forgetting his name.
Harley?
No.
Bryce.
Why? Bryce. You get Bryce and you get Karen and whatnot. Those two characters, and also the little old lady from the pharmacy, and have the movie be about those three characters.
I think it would have been best if you focused on all four. I mean, yeah, your movie would have been fine too, but that would have been like
and also
a dramatic mini.
Also Haley. Also Harley.
Yeah. I feel like if you were to focus on all four, Harley, Judith, Bryce, and Karen equally. However, have Karen's focus be more in the time beforehand, when she was with Harley, and show the slow decline of what happened there, having been paralleled in the same way that Godfather Part 2, have that paralleled with Judith's decline with Bryce, and then her subsequent decline, like, crash and burn with Harley. Have them parallel each other, and then have, like, the HIV reveal to Karen happen at the same time as the HIV reveal to that
would be interesting.
That would have been a great thing, because you have not only the person who is constantly hurting but is never hurt. B, you have Bryce who is hurt but never hurting. The same thing in Karen, but she's been hurt twice already. And then you have Judith who is hurting but also is hurt. It's four different, like, essentially different views on an abusive relationship.
It's a way it could definitely work.
I just think that would be an interesting view. All right, and that's that. Do you want to give final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap this up.
Final thoughts on
last bit and whatnot. This movie, I mean, it was just, it happened. Whoop-de-doo-dah. It's not nearly the worst Tyler Perry movie as I've seen. Not nearly the best Tyler Perry movie I've seen. And also, it's not neither the worst or the best movie I've seen. Combating this particular issue. Oh, should we bring up the Netflix review?
Nah, it's not worth it. There was one review that we took quite a bit of joy in, because it said how...
We almost wrote an opening joke based on it.
How it was saying that it absolutely... Like, that this viewed marriage in a way that no other film has in the 120 years of cinema. This viewed it not as a fairy tale.
The only movie.
This is the only movie to do it in 120 years of cinema.
Yeah. I love reviews like that and whatnot, because they're just wonderful. Alright.
My turn?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I was trying to look up something. Whatever.
No,
to go. I haven't seen a lot of Tyler Perry, like, at all. I know of him. I know the sort of stereotypes that everyone applies to.
Tyler Perry!
I don't know. I don't like to assign any given actor or director a thing of he's always been bad or he's always been good. Even, you look at, like, people like Shyamalan. Someone who it is a bad director now. He was good. He had good work.
He has essence.
Everybody has good and bad to them.
He's doing that show. What is it?
I don't know. Anyway, when it comes to Tyler Perry's work, specifically this one, we kept a little tally throughout it of 1 point for something we liked, negative 1 point for something we didn't like. If we really didn't like it, we changed the score. It's
like 2 to 3. You never got beyond 3 points.
It's not at all objective. It is a very relative score of whatever the fuck we felt like. It never went positive. It was always...
It was at zero for a couple times.
It bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced. And then the rape scene, it just died.
I think we took off 5 for that.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was because of how the scene was handled afterwards.
It was like 3 points for the rape, but then extra points because of how it was handled.
Just each scene was like, you're just making it worse. It's like making Hitler work.
So I wouldn't say it's exactly a good movie, but then again, there were like those 2 scenes that we really liked.
Yeah.
In the overall,
it's like that scene in Nipples and Palm Trees.
Yes.
That one good
one scene, one character. But
2 scenes, 2 characters.
What would I say about this?
Two characters.
I think that it was. I don't even know how to express it in words. It didn't have a bad message. A lot of times, like I said, if it would have ended with Judith getting off with what she did, where she just got Bryce back in the end, no. That would have been a terrible message. Just like, do it, nothing bad will happen. No. I'm glad that it sent at least a decent message of, if you do this, people will get hurt, and no one will be happy in the end.
You done fucked up.
I mean, the whole movie ended with them, it was all centered around her as a marriage counselor telling a couple that she was counseling this story. And she's like, look, this is how it happened. And then she's, the one wife that she counseling is just like, thank you for telling me this. I'm going to stop whatever's about to happen with my marriage and try to save it. So, I think it's a good enough message. Is it a good movie to tell it through? It's infuriating at times. And it's absolutely batshit insane how you get to certain points, but it's not a particularly terrible film. It's bad, but it's not, like, dear God, why in the world did Tyler Perry decide to make this? So,
money.
So that's what I think. I never did see Matthew after that. Our show ended soon after, and we went our separate ways. Matthew became a big-time Hollywood director, hugely famous, like loads of money. Holy shit. I chose a more professional path. I started up my own psychiatric firm, studying in bitchology, so I could hear people bitch all the time. In fact, I'm teaching a class down at the local community college if you're interested. No, that's fine. But, I don't think either of us were really happy with our choice. Except for Matthew, obviously. He's fucking loaded. Me, however, I'm not happy with how things turned out. But I think it was best for both of us. One day I'm going to tell that story to a client. Just need the client.
That was the last time I saw David before the man in the white padded van took him away. He was ranting and raving how I was fucking loaded. Though he was really just creeping around the girls' locker room with a set of binoculars. We're not exactly sure why he had them. There were no windows. But anyway, he now resides in an asylum. I should probably go visit him.
I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck about you or anything that you do. Don't give a fuck about...
I never did see Matt after that. After he went to visit me in the insane asylum that I wasn't actually in. I know that it was...
And that was the last time I saw David. He barreled off that bridge at the back of that course. Owes me $75. I still can't find it. Okay, please tell him about the... I don't even know why I'm here. Stop. That is all quite strange to me. It's